Three are the doctor, the IT department, and the lecturer. Apocalypse, and then as the survivor of the zombie apocalypse, you are supposed to look for medication, look for herbs, look for plants to cure the nation. So it's a six game used in their lab session. So some of the lab session is designed to be like played half an hour in the office, half in the school lab, and half an hour, 1 hour at home, kind of thing to complete the game. So this very radical way of thinking, playing game to learn about pharmaceutical knowledge is new. So because of that, they won 3 awards. Okay, next slide, please. Yeah, so this is the same game I'm talking about. Just now, those are the so-called the inventors. These are the higher level, the principals and directors for getting the award for this. Okay, thanks. Okay, this is another example with NUS. This is also with the medical school side. So the medical school side, they always have an issue. This project is called PASIT. It's basically a project used for simulating SOP, the standard operating procedures, inside the operating theatre. So if you are aware, operating theatre is a very expensive resource, and it's not easy to get. I mean, a couple of years back when my father was in the hospital, we noticed that when the hospital bill comes, right, it's not the surgeon that's the most expensive. The most expensive item on his bill was actually the operating theatre. So operating theatre is a very expensive resource. So how do you rent an operating theatre for the students to go in and practice their work? You can't. So because of that, they see a value and they see a need in using VR, recreate the operating theatre, and simulate situations that the lecturers want to simulate. And then this is well received, and this is used by all the medical students in NUS. Okay, next. So another one we did was with the Singapore government. This is a public education where we use VR to teach students, these are young kids, 12 and below, about proper use of road safety, and as well as obeying traffic rules. So there are simple things that we may think is straightforward, but with under 12 sometimes you may not understand. Like for example, one of the things that even I also learned from is that if there's a bus stopping here, don't cross in front of the bus, because the moment you walk out of the bus, there's another lane, right? The car comes, they may not see because the bus is stopped down there. You don't expect anybody to run up in front of the bus, so you may get into trouble. Things like that. So we use this simulation to teach kids younger children how to use the proper use of roads. Basically the road safety. So this is a road safety project with the Singapore government. Okay, so this project actually goes around different shopping malls and different schools to educate students on the proper use of Singapore roads. Okay. Okay, so this is also some other things that we did. This was a newspaper interview, that's myself, and then we also took part in some challenge. So this particular challenge was actually a challenge done by the Defence Science Technology Agency of Singapore. So this means this is the IT research arm for the national defence, the Army, Air Force, and Navy. Okay, so they came out with a challenge statement. Long story short, we won it. So we had delivered the project. It's a $250,000 Sing dollars project that we did for them. Okay, so they started off with just a $3,000 prize money. So they liked the idea. We developed the solution to a $250,000 project. Okay, yeah. Next. Okay, next one I'm going to share with you is just now I wanted to share with you some facts and data on whether this industry is going up or going down. Okay, maybe before we start, let me just have a quick check. Who believes that extended reality, right, is something on the upward trend, or is plateauing, or is on a downward trend? Who thinks it's still gaining adoption, gaining popularity? Who thinks so? Only one believe. Then I can sit down already. Let me explain. Okay, so who thinks it's not going anywhere? Who thinks it's going down? Who thinks it's not getting attention, who thinks is going to like on the downward trend? Also no? So no. Okay, I think I may have one slide missing because before this I'm actually supposed to talk about what is XR. Okay, never mind. Let me rewind a little bit. So extended reality is basically extended reality basically talks about AR and VR. Right? We're talking about AR and VR. So augmented reality and virtual reality. So augmented reality basically is a technology where you see the real world, but we superimpose, overlay some computer-generated information, infographics, or even computer graphics, 2D, 3D, whatever it is, into the real world. So you basically see the real world with additional information. So imagine the what is that? Iron Man movie, right? The moment he has on his in his Iron Man suit, you see him having those squares and information draw out onto the real world. So that's called augmented reality. Next will be the virtual reality. So virtual reality, we recreate the entire environment, not just overlaying on the real world. And virtual reality, most of the time, it cuts you off from your current world. So imagine now I'm in this auditorium. If I put on a virtual reality headset, the virtual reality headset can bring me to Amazon rainforest, can bring me to the highest point in highest mountain in maybe on top of the Mount Bromo or whatever. So I imagine I'm down there, but actually I'm in the lecture theatre. So virtual reality cuts you off from the real world and you transport you to another totally different dimension. Okay, so that's virtual reality. And then there's another term called the mixed reality, made famous by Microsoft HoloLens. So mixed reality, what it is basically what I call it AR version 2.0. So every time we say augmented reality, you see the object being overlaid in front of you in the real world, right? But the object is always in front of you, and it's always in front of the, let's say if you're seeing it through the phone or seeing it through a goggle, it's always in front of you. But mixed reality allows you to place the object and it remembers where you place the object. So if I place the object right in front here, I can turn away, I won't see the object, I turn back, the object will still be there. So if you say you play Pokemon Go, right? The Pokemon is always in front of your phone, in front of you. Wherever you turn, you'll be there. But the newer generation Pokemon, they actually remembers the location of where the Pokemon is, right? But it still doesn't allow you to walk around it, right? So mixed reality, in fact, allows me to walk around the object. So if I place my augmented reality object here, I can actually walk around it. I can see the front, I can look at the back, I can go near, I'll see it big, I go far, I'll see it far. So it will know how, basically, mixed reality, what it means is that mixed reality is AR, but more advanced level of AR. Before they place the object, they know the environment, they know the height, they can place it nicely there, and they remember the position over there, right? So with that, it makes this kind of immersive presentation of information a lot more effective. So imagine if this is not something possible today, but in future you'll be able to say like I go into a museum or go into somewhere, everywhere I look at, you see some information. You see some information floating on top of the object or the statue or the painting, right? Then I come back the second round, the object and the information, the painting or above the statue are still there, right? So this is called mixed reality. Okay, so these are basically advanced way of displaying information to the users rather than the standard PowerPoint presentation. So imagine if today augmented reality or mixed reality is so advanced. I can be talking, my PowerPoint slide can be floating on top of my head. I have the thinking icon there can be floating on top of my head. Then as I walk around, the thing will follow me. You can imagine that? So if let's say augmented reality have reached that stage, this will be how it's going to be like, right? And you don't have to remember my name, I don't have to add name tag. Probably my name will be appearing somewhere on my right side. Okay? Right. Okay, so if you see, this is a report from IDC. IDC report just last year, November 2022. It says that the AR, VR, or XR, we call it short form, will reach $13.8 billion. And in another 3 more years' time, it will reach $50.9 billion. So if you look at that, basically it's saying that there's a compound annual growth rate of 32.3% every year. Okay, so it is, according to IDC, it says it's on an upward trend. Okay, so let's take a look at another report. Yeah. Okay, one more time. Okay. Okay, another research company, Acumen Research and Consulting, they are a bit even more optimistic. They say that the annual compounded annual growth rate is 38. Earlier on, IDC says 32, right? So this is 38.5, and the market value projection by 2030, 7 years time, will be $450 billion. Billion, and US dollars, not not rupiah, and it's not million, it's billion. Okay, so then they also break it down by the region. The fastest growing region, North America, fine, but the dominating region actually is Asia Pacific. So Asia Pacific is where we are at. It means that there's already a lot of adoption in this region, which means it will continue to grow. It will continue to be big. I think one of the main reasons for AR, VR in this space is also because of Sony, PS3, PS4, PS5, that kind of thing, gaming, all these kind of things are part of the help contributor in that space. All right. Okay, let's take a look at the next research information. Okay, this is another thing I wanted to highlight. Earlier on, I mentioned that we see. So this is a chart that shows you the spending within education technology. What are the kind of technology that education sector is actually spending the money on? May not be very readable, but on the left side, the first one, it says blockchain, robotics, artificial intelligence. If you can't see this, this is XR. Okay, so in the education space, the education technology space, they're spending a lot more money in. They're spending money in technology for sure, but which area they're spending most on is XR space. Okay, so that's good news for us. Yeah, you have a lot of universities. I just learned that there is, I think 4 universities within Surabaya and maybe 5 in Malang, right? Correct? So there are a lot of universities. Hopefully the government will be supportive, and then there will be solutions you can sell to those, to all these universities. Okay? Yeah. The next slide, please. Okay, this is another chart to show the breakdown between AR and VR in terms of revenue. Okay, the two charts are not the same on the same scale. Just to blow them up bigger to show you. In actual fact, VR is about 70% of the current market right now. But I think this is reaching a tipping point that AR will catch up, mainly because of a couple of reasons. I'll share with you one of them later. But I mean, you think about it, VR is something like I mentioned, you cut yourself out from the rest of the world, and typically VR requires you to wear a headset, right? So can you imagine wearing a headset and try to get out into the real world? It's impossible, right? You can't be walking around with a headset blind and walking on the road. You will definitely get into some trouble. You definitely get into some accident. So whereas AR is different. AR allows you to see the real world, so you can continue using, you can continue your daily life. Information just flow into you in front of your eyes, and then you can see them overlay onto objects. So it's something a lot more practical. So as of now, VR is very much of a classroom in the lecture theater use kind of situation, whereas AR can be used outside in the real world for operation for your daily lives, right? Okay, so definitely AR will become bigger and more widely accepted than VR in future. Okay, so the main reason I show this chart is that they have the different colors actually mean the different kind of VR and AR segment. This is like the e-commerce sales, the hardware sale, the application that's non-app based, the enterprise set, the sales to enterprise, and so on and so forth. So what you see here is that every of the color over the years are actually increasing. This is just 2017 to 2022. So once again, the research shows that in every of this category of VR and AR is increasing year on year, and some of them are exponential growth, some of them are a bit slower. Right? For example, enterprise adoption, the red line, you see the increase is quite slow, but it's still growing. Similarly on the other side. But if you see the dark blue line, the e-commerce sales, these are all the online games or whatever things that people are selling. You can see that they are growing at exponential rate, right? Both VR as well as AR, right? So this once again shows you that even for education. Okay, next slide, please. Yeah, earlier on I mentioned, other than believing in the research Because I don't know how many people believe 100% of research paper. Because I personally do not believe 100% in research paper. It depends on who pay for the research. So the information will be skewed towards the research, whoever pay for the research, right? So the other important thing, which is why earlier on I show you research paper from different sources, because that way it becomes more trustworthy. If there's only one company, one research company that does that, you realize that who's the sponsor? Oh, it must be from the big companies that are doing it. So I show you research paper from different companies. And the other thing, other than research, we also want to see the real world tangible stuff. So I wanted to share with you, like for example, Facebook growth. They have confidence. That's why they keep putting in money to develop next generation. And if you don't know, every product development is billion dollars. It's a lot of investment. Before they can make back money, they already spend billions to develop it, right? Okay, so this is just one company, and they are actually going towards more blended kind of reality, which is the MR kind. So that's why all these cameras in front is supposed to show you the real world. So in future, the VR object or the avatar whatever, can be appearing in front of this lecture theatre. It doesn't have to be in a virtual environment, right? I'll be able to see all of you, as well as at the same time I'll be able to see maybe someone else standing down here talking to me, right? Okay, so this is one tech giant, and then just earlier on I also mentioned that another tech giant, some other tech giant that potentially will change and the way things work and give another shift towards bigger adoption of AR, right? So this is another thing that just launched yesterday. I don't know whether anybody know this product that was just launched yesterday. Just made available yesterday, right? Huh? Okay, next slide, please. Apple Vision Pro, available yesterday. Okay, so this product, so this is not just that Apple comes into this space of AR, VR, and MR. Okay, if you think back, you know how successful is Apple whenever they launch a new consumer electronic, right? When everybody uses Nokia phone, the candy bar phone, and Apple came out with iPhone, the whole world was in shock and was in awe. And then from then on, for 15 years, now it's iPhone 15, right? So for 15 years, Apple becomes a giant, right? So a lot of people have also commented that Apple, no new invention, nothing, not innovative anymore, right? Correct, right? This goes through all the technology companies. People will say good things about them, after a few years they will get bad press again. Then you've got to keep inventing yourself so you can keep having new things that comes out. Like a few years ago, everybody talking about Google, right? Google search, how great. Now people talk about Microsoft already. Last time people say that Google beats Bing. Bing is the search engine, if you all don't know. Because I also Microsoft, we are forced to use Bing, which is lousy, right? So they lose themselves in the search war, but they came out with they won in the AI war, right? So yeah, in the past the search is not as good as Google. They tried many times, it is not as good as Google. So they changed their concept. They do a flank. Instead of winning them in terms of search, they can tell people that okay, in the past Google likes to tell people why sort search. Don't need to sort your information, just search them. Right? Don't need to reorganize your folder, whatever, just to find information. Just search because they index everything so well. But Microsoft now can come back and tell them, they didn't say this, but I say this. But with AI, Microsoft can come out and tell them, why search? Just ask. You ask, they'll tell you the answer, right? Why you need to search, right? Search will still give you a lot of information for you to find which is the relevant document. But now with ChatGPT and with all the AI tools available out there, just ask, they'll straight away tell you the answer in normal, readable human language, right? Okay, so another thing I thought about Apple Vision Pro is because this could potentially, definitely not this version, but this could be the beginning. This could be potentially be the beginning of a change in the device that we carry today, the mobile phone. So everybody say that mobile phone hasn't changed drastically over the past few years, right? But imagine in future you can have some wearables, and you can just pick up your call, it's hello, and then all your friends' information or whatever, or you browse the web, you watch your YouTube, you no longer need to look down, you can be looking up just with a wearable. Okay? So of course not this form factor. This form factor is still too big, too ugly, and the battery life is like probably 3 hours. right? Go back to first generation mobile phone. They need to carry power bank. Stupid, right? But I'm sure this will be the beginning. Then very soon, in future, some of these wearable will most likely take over mobile phone, right? So similarly, you think back from the button phone to the touchscreen phone to smartphone. Everybody thinks that wow, initially very expensive, but after a while it's like, who wants to go back to button phone now? Nobody, right? So in future, most likely people say, who want to go back to the touchscreen phone? I just want my wearable glasses as my communication devices, right? Okay. Okay, so with that, I think I have given enough proof and enough points that this industry is actually on an upward trend. Okay? They just announced some mention, which means that more good things are going to come in the next few years. So if you are interested, like to start a career or start to do some business in this space, these are some of the areas that you cannot neglect. You have to remember that so we need to be on a constant reality check. Make sure that is it dead? Is it dead? Is it dead? But recently, when Microsoft HoloLens announced that they killed the whole team, we also panicked. Will MR die? So we also need to do a check and things like that to make sure that we are still going in the right direction, or should we defocus a little bit and focus on something else, right? But fortunately, in the XR world, it's not just about Microsoft HoloLens. There are a lot of other areas, Meta, Apple, HTC, HP, all these people. So as of today, we will be doing them. Usually, we will give them a full-time hire job. All right? Yeah. Okay. Do we still have time? Oh, we got time. Oh. Okay. Yeah, I got some use cases that I can share. Next slide, please. Okay, so maybe I just share with you some of the use cases some of the projects that we have done with our clients. So to give you an idea how XR is being used in the industry. And earlier on, I mentioned that we have quite a lot of education customers, but that's not the only one, right? So for example, this one is with the SingHealth group. Okay, SingHealth is the biggest healthcare group in Singapore. They have 4,000 nurses. They run the most number of clinics and hospitals in Singapore, especially and including those specialized clinics. So like for example, this one is the specialist clinic called ENT, the ear, nose and throat. So they use VR to do training because ear is an organ that it's hard to see, right? Actually, it's not just ear. Any organs is very hard to see. It's very hard to tell. You open up and then take a look. Open up, maybe you faint, right? I cannot see that. I'll probably faint, right? So basically, you want to teach, you want to rotate the thing around, you want to go deep inside the organ to take a look. It's good to use something like VR to explain the subject. Rather than looking at 2D pictures, it's much easier to have an object that you can interact with. Take away the outer layer, go inner layer, then take away another layer. Can look at it layer by layer, or maybe like a group of organs as one object. So it's much easier to teach and much easier for people to visualize. Because when you teach subjects like this, not everybody's imagination is vivid. If you try to explain architecture drawing or things like that to people, some people can think 3-dimensional, but most normal people cannot imagine 3-dimension. So it's good to have something visually to show them things in 3-dimension. They can rotate, you can even look inside, look outside, turn it around, upside down, whatever. You can see it from any angle. It's much easier to understand that way, right? So this is one example that they use it for the ENT specialist training. Okay, another project with SingHealth. So typically, one of the reasons why I show you this is also because if a customer is happy and they believe in the technology, that's why they have the second project. So SingHealth, it's not like, oh, this is just to do and make sure we show the bosses that we are high tech, we use technology. Okay, because they do see value, people see that, oh, this is so useful, so let's do for other courses and so on and so forth. In fact, we have another lineup or another 3 more projects with SingHealth, right? Okay, so the second VR training that they do for SingHealth is basically in terms of the resuscitation, child resuscitation. So child resuscitation is something a bit tricky. The thing is that most of the time operating and resuscitation, you really need the tactile feedback. You really need to have the experience of doing the compression and things like that. You need to know how much strength to use. So this VR will not be able to simulate that as of now. So currently for VR, they're using VR to help supplement whatever their current practical lessons. It's not to replace the current practical lesson, just to supplement. Right, so don't oversell VR. VR a lot of time is here to supplement and to make the training more complete, to help people remember things better. So for example, in this, it's more to train people. Okay, so I'm not calling the baby dummy, sorry. So basically, you need to know like how hard to press, right? So that one, you need to use a real simulated device for you to do that, right? But at least the VR portion trains you on the correct method, correct procedure, the steps. So it helps you remember, to train that kind of memory. Okay, and also because when you see things in three-dimensional, it helps you remember better than just by reading textbook, step 1 to step 20. Versus you have something visual, you remember. Okay, so this is very useful in that sense. Next slide, please. So please remember, don't oversell VR. VR doesn't replace all your training. Most of the time in current state, VR and AR are supplements and complements your current teaching and training methods, right? Just like surgeons and doctors, a lot of people are asking whether we can use VR to replace surgical procedures and practice. We cannot, because as of today, when surgeons do real surgery, they practice on real meat. They really buy a piece of meat, and then they'll cut, and then they'll really stitch out the meat. Because you need to be able to know the needle need how much strength you need to push how hard before the needle can go into the flesh, right? The skin, right? Yeah. So simulation, you can't do that. Okay. So it's just a complement. So another one, like I said, we have many with SingHealth. So SingHealth, the other one is more for, this one is for patient with dementia. So this one is a study. They are experimenting to see whether VR is suitable for patient with dementia. Because you need to understand, dementia patient usually, for the doctor, will be asking this question over and over again. So this system actually automates that process, so the doctor don't have to do this role play thing. This system can take care of it, and then you'll be able to see whether they can answer. Right? So basically, what dementia care is that they test them on simple basic knowledge of things like concept of, okay, they start from waking up in the morning. Do you still remember how to brush the teeth? Right, simple process like this, that you need to apply, you need to put on your toothpaste and things like that. I mean, I didn't know about this until we talked to the specialists there. They told us that, yeah, these are simple things that dementia patient will not know. So I said, okay, so this particular VR, we create just very simple scenarios. Then we also have to flip the newspaper, then you see some famous figures, famous faces down there. It could be politician, could be pop stars or whatever. Then you ask them, who is this person? And see whether they remember. And also things like, okay, you need to buy maybe bakso mee or whatever. You give 50, you give 100,000. How much is your change? Which one is which note is what denomination? Do you know how to give change properly and things like that? So they actually test them on this kind of thing. So you go through a series of tests for about 10 minutes. They will be able to identify whether you have your brain is starting to deteriorate and you are going to get potentially will be dementia patient. So they use this to detect dementia. Okay. Yeah, like this one asking about fruits, right? Okay. SIT is another top university in Singapore. There's 5 universities in Singapore only. Okay. I think 5 universities. I think Malang already have 5, right? Yesterday they were telling me Malang already have 5 universities there. So Singapore also only have 5 universities. So this is one of the university, newer ones. So this one actually work with the doctors to actually talk about the heart. So what's interesting about this is that you see the X, Y, and Z axis of the heart, right? So they use VR as a display of the heart, right? So in this tool, they actually allow you to use your hand to drag the yellow, blue, and red plane as you move them up, down. So you can see them from this way, or that way. So X, Y, and Z axis, and the pictures will update accordingly. So it's integrated together with the, I think this is the MRI scan. Yeah, So it's a very, very detailed scan. Every single layer you can see. I don't know whether you have seen any of those National Geographic or whatever. They also scan those human mummies and corpses. They actually can scan the whole body. You can see from this angle, you can see from top to down. Right? So you can just look through, it's like traveling through the human body kind. So this one gives you a good way to visualize. It's much easier to control just using your hand to shift the thing around. Okay? Yeah. So this is for teaching of the heart. Alright. To simulate, if you are doing aircraft servicing training, you see things on the floor, what you need to do. You see oil spills, what you need to check, because it's like fire. So things like this kind of situation, this kind of scenario, it's not something that you all can easily simulate or simulate in a classroom environment. Fire, how to simulate. So basically, what we do is that use VR to accomplish that rather than the actual fire. Okay. Yeah. Next. So this is with SCDF. So SCDF is basically the civil defense. So they take care of fire, they take care of disaster. They also take care of simple things like if your cat gets stuck in the tree, they also can help you. Okay, so yeah, this particular department we work with is the Marine Firefighting Department. Once again, because Singapore is a regional hub, there are many ships that come in, and all the ship comes with different models. And I do not know if anybody have a chance to enter a commercial shipping vessel before. Or you watch some movies or something, you know. The moment you go into the ship is very difficult, it's like a maze. It's very hard to find how to get around. So they have this superstructure in the middle where the captain, they call it the bridge, where the captain has their control steering wheel. You can see everything, right? Then the rest of the places typically are just for the engineers to go, and then they are very narrow, and some doors goes up, then you got to come down. So it's really for them to do training. Like I mentioned, Singapore is an international hub. There are so many model ships that come to Singapore. There's so many ship models that come to Singapore. How do you how much space you need? 6-story building, no, for one ship model. So they use software, VR to recreate this kind of environment. So they can get used and familiar to all this. I can't remember exactly which department is this, but they are supposed to study the effects of earthquake, learn about earthquake, tectonic plate movement, and so as how it feels like. So putting on a VR headset, this one is a little bit, to me, quite fun. It's a little bit like the 4D experience you watch. If you attend, if you'll be happy, everybody will be attending the class. Maybe even stay behind to complete the game, that kind of thing, right? So this is quite interesting game, and this is the one that won the 3 national award for Reimagine Education award. And this is once again NUS. They use it for the construction safety training. So this kind of thing is, once again, you can teach on site, bring people to the construction site, and then tell them potential hazard, blah 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 blah. Or alternatively, you can do it safely. Don't bring them there. Construction site. Okay. Oh, okay. This one is more of a fun game. They wanted to create because the lecturer went to, I think, Korea or Taiwan with his family. Then one evening he's very bored. Then he walked past this place that says there's an escape room. So he being an old man, what the heck is an escape room? He don't know. He don't know what is an escape room. So he went inside and take a look with his kid. Then he said he had so much fun. He and his kid trying to solve the puzzle, get out of the room, right? He said he had so much fun. So he said, hey, but I mean technology, maybe I can do a digital version of the escape room. So what we did was we talked to one of the escape room in Singapore and asked them whether they want to do a digital one. Because you know escape room, if you want to change game, it means you need to renovate the whole room, right? Renovation in Singapore is not cheap. Doing a software product actually cheaper than renovating the whole room to be the new thing. So we came together with them to come up with a game to entice people, and then we test it out at the VR gaming center. Yeah, this is pretty fun. Okay. So this game has like 8 different versions. You can 8 different levels, and it's a multiplayer game. You're supposed to collaborate. Like for example, some of the similarly to, actually, have anybody not Have anybody not seen, have anybody tried escape room before? So this is a VR version. And also and also we built in some mechanism similar to the escape room because unfortunately I haven't tried escape room myself, but according to the lecturer, he said that if you really panic, sometimes because the room is quite small, then you try to solve, you can't solve the problem, then you panic, there's a panic button for you to press, or there's a phone call you can do, right? Similarly, in the system itself, if you play and then you realize below, then I can actually talk over the communication to say, no, go to the left side, the button on the left side, that kind of thing, to guide them along to come out of the game, to come out of to the next level. Okay? Right, so this one is quite a complicated one because it's a multiplayer. Okay, another thing, just now I mentioned about VR. So far, all the VR we have seen is done in, say, virtual tour, virtual house tour. If you're buying an apartment, sometimes they do the 360 photo shoot, right? Is it the same here? Yeah. Or sometimes you want to. So in this social and family, Ministry of Social and Family. So they have a department called the Child Protection Services. Okay, sadly, in Singapore, there are quite a lot of child abuse cases and abuse by their own parents. So if let's say this department takes care of all these kind of problematic families, and their job is to keep the children safe. So if something wrong, somebody reports something, for example, I keep hearing my neighbors keep crying, then I notice every time there's like bruises and wounds, or then I suspect that maybe my neighbor is ill-treating his or her children, I can actually call this hotline and then they will send somebody to go and check on them, right? So this is a very, very nice, noble job. So a lot of aspiring graduates want to join them. And then after they join them, the training is 6 months. After 6 months of training, they will go on site. They will go into the field and do a real job. So imagine, I'm fresh. Can you imagine today you are fresh grads, right? You don't have a lot of life experiences yet. Life is still a long journey. Imagine today I have to step into a family. You see the father being very violent, the mother being very violent, and you need to go and tell the very violent and very angry father that I need to take your child away. Can you handle that? Can you handle that? Right? Then most likely you say, I'm the child protection officer. I'm here to protect your child, and I'm going to bring him away. And then the abuse, the verbal abuse, even if you don't fight, even if you don't take the knife and chase after you, even if you just the amount of things that he's telling you and scolding you, the kind of trauma that goes through is tremendous. Okay, so the sad truth is, the reason why they came out of this, the sad truth is, after 6 months of training, one day in the field, they decided to quit. So imagine 6 months of training all wasted, because they couldn't handle the kind of trauma. And then the other thing is also, in actual fact, this is not like a movie, it's a real thing. He says that only about 40% of the time, there's a happy ending. Most of the time, the 70% of the time, they are separated. Because, can you imagine an abusive parent who has like either drug problem, gambling problem, drinking problem? These kind of problems are not easy to solve. So, child protection services only bring the child away. Social services have to step in to teach the parents to be better human beings, better parents, right? So it's not. Most of the time, this kind of thing does not happen. With a nice outcome. So can you imagine? You think you do a very noble job, but you didn't really. The child become. They still cannot grow up with their parents and things like that. So it's actually not very happy. It's quite sad. Right, so a lot of them most of them couldn't handle this kind of emotional stress. So what happens is that the recruiter says that, okay, we need to let the new recruits, new joiners know some of the actors reenact the whole scenario. So because people just talk until the evening, I think I'll be out of energy, right? So it solves a few problems. This video helps to do the reenactment. So I don't want to sugarcoat, I don't want to oversell this position. So, from X Media, besides doing the software, projectors, technology, right? Okay, I think one more idea. Okay, this is similar, another multimedia projection board. Okay, I think with that, I hope I have shared with you enough examples of the things that we can do, and potentially if you are in the space of XR, these are some of the customers that potentially you can look for. These are some of the customers that potentially you can look for. If you're, the longer you stay in the industry, the more obsolete you become. So all the programming language and knowledge I learned in the past is no longer relevant today. So we're talking about learnability. So if you are able to teach yourself new things, learn new things by yourself, and learn them quickly and apply it, this is the most.
Joeie, so does anyone have
today?
Hello. Very good.
Yes. You can speak Indonesia a little? No?
Apa kabar?
Oh, apa kabar? Only apa kabar. But how about Surabaya? Is it too hot for you or not? Or similar with Singapore?
Surabaya?
Gresik. Oh.
Oh, sorry. Let me get some water.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Yes, please. Oh, can someone help?
No, I can.
Okay. Yeah, because it's actually in here is very hot lately.
In the end, you still have to call somebody and talk to somebody. Okay, so with AI, we will be able to capture a lot of this knowledge and we'll be able to answer them effectively so that you can eliminate the need to call somebody. So similarly for us, we are trying to build a chatbot and an AI chatbot that is on our website that can help answer questions relating to FX Media. We hope to release that by next year. And the chatbot that we have is not just going to be a text chat. We're going to have an avatar with the lead talking with facial expression and body movements. So it looks like really some cartoon character is talking to you. And you ask questions by voice, not by typing. I mean, you can use both typing or by voice. Okay? So that's the direction we are moving to. So AI perspective also requires, like for example, earlier on I say we are good with the visual things that currently. AI is not something we can invent or we can do. It's usually done by big boys because they need, in order to train AI, you need to get very big, large data sets. Okay? I mean, simply put, data sets are like, for example, I want to teach the computer to recognize car. What I need to do is I need to take a lot of pictures of the car and I meta tag them and say this is a car, this is a car, this is a car. Some from front view, some from side view, some from bottom view, some from top view. And then I feed into the system to teach the system that this is a car. So all these car photos with the tag that says red car, blue car, Toyota car, sports car, whatever, is considered part of the data set. So typically, companies, SMEs will not be able to provide this kind of data set. You will be the Google of the world, Microsoft of the world that will be able to do this kind of thing. So even if you come out with the engine now, you don't have the data set, it's useless. Which is why China has the fastest growing in terms of AI. You all know why? Because China's, when the government take photo of the people, there's no privacy issue. Your photo, your face belong to the government. In the US, they didn't grow as fast as the China. That's one of the reasons, because they are too sensitive with users' privacy. But also China, when they take your photos, I don't know whether you all know like there are payment. Hello. For us, AI, what we are trying to do with AI is to give AI a face, a nice face to look at. Because AI that you talk to today, ChatGPT or whatever, is just text box, right? So from our perspective, we'll add a face to give you a nicer visual look. So earlier on, you see our slides, what does FX Media do? We usually beautify IT adoption. So we give it a nice face. I don't know whether you see some of our mascots. No, AI is basically the brain, only the brain. There's no hand, there's no leg, there's no face. Yeah. So we can, for our perspective, we can add a face to it. But you can also put AI into robots and things like that. Yes. Yeah. Okay, so AI definitely, if you are looking into the space entrepreneurship, technopreneurship, AI you cannot follow. AI will be here to stay and it will just get bigger. So from our perspective, we try to use AI to our advantage. Now we create 3D scenes, we create 3D scenes, we create mock-up screens, we create 2D stuff a lot faster using AI. Right? Like for example, the lip syncing part, if I created an avatar and I want the avatar to behave or to dance. If I were to use the traditional way of animating the AI, animating the 3D model, do you have 3D courses in the university?
Yeah, we have.
You have? Yeah. Oh, okay. Because if you are a 3D student or you have done 3D work before, animating a 3D character is different from just drawing a 3D character. Now, animation takes a very, very long time, but if you have AI, you can actually create an animation very quickly. I don't know whether you have seen our latest demo. We have a character doing Jackie Chan's martial art movement. Okay, so basically what we do is that we let AI determine we input the video into the AI, and then we make our 3D character do the same action as what Jackie Chan did in his movie, in the video. Right? So these are some